You ever have that moment where you get paid on Friday and by like Wednesday you open your banking app and just stare at the balance like, wait, where did it all go? I didn't even buy anything crazy this week. You scroll through the transactions, $8.49 here, $27.13 there, a random $3.99 subscription you forgot about, $62 at the grocery store that somehow only bought you snacks and vibes. And you're like, how is it possible that my entire paycheck just evaporated? Here's the thing. Your money didn't just disappear. It went on a little adventure. Every time you tap your card or hit buy now, that dollar leaves your account and enters this huge invisible system where it gets chopped up, redirected, multiplied for other people, and usually never works for you again. Most people think, I spent $1, I lose $1, that's it, it's gone. No, you don't just lose that dollar. You transfer control of that dollar. That's a huge difference. Here's what most people don't realize. Once that dollar leaves your hands, it doesn't disappear. It still exists. It still has power. It's just now working for your bank, someone's business, the government, shareholders, advertisers, and very rarely your future self. According to a recent Federal Reserve survey, around 37% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. But in that same economy, companies spend hundreds of billions of dollars every year on advertising, literally to get your dollars to go work for them instead of you. So the game isn't that you're bad with money. The game is everyone else already has a plan for your dollars before you do. And here's where it gets really interesting. If you don't give your dollar a job, someone else gives it one, and it usually pays them 10 times more than it ever paid you. Let's follow a single dollar and see what actually happens. Imagine you buy a $5 coffee with a credit or debit card. We're going to zoom in on just one of those dollars. You tap your card, the little machine beeps, you grab your drink and walk away. In your mind, you're thinking, I lost $5, the coffee shop gained $5. Not even close. Here's the path of your dollar. First, the payment slice. Out of that $5, around 2 to 3% goes to payment processing fees. Let's say 3% to keep it simple. That's 15 cents. So your $5 is now to roughly $4.85 going to the coffee shop and about 15 cents going to the payment network, the bank, and the processor. Scale that up. If this shop does $30,000 a month in card sales, 3% is $900 per month just in fees. That's your dollars and everyone else's, quietly funding the entire payment system. Next, the government slice. From that $5 purchase, a portion goes to sales tax, depending on where you live. Let's say sales tax is 8% on that coffee. On $5, that's about 40 cents that ultimately goes to the city, state, and federal government for roads, schools, salaries, interest on national debt, and yes, plenty of waste. So from your $5, we've already shaved off processing fees and taxes. The coffee shop is really keeping something closer to the mid $4 range, and even that doesn't all stay with them. Now let's look at the landlord and overhead. Out of what's left, a big chunk goes to rent and utilities. Rent in many cities is brutal. For a small coffee shop, rent and utilities might easily take 25% of their revenue. So if we take roughly $4.45 that's staying with the coffee shop after tax and fees, and 25% of that goes to rent and utilities, that's about $1.11. That means part of your dollar is going to the building owner, who might be paying a bank for a mortgage, who might have bundled that mortgage and sold it to investors. Your dollar is being sliced and passed up the chain. Now, wages. Of the remaining money, a big piece goes to pay baristas, managers, and staff. Labor and food service can easily be 25 to 35% of revenue. Let's say around 30% of that remaining $3.34 goes to wages. That's about $1. That dollar is now helping someone make rent, pay their own student loans, or buy their own $5 coffee on a break. That dollar is now bouncing around their life. Then you've got ingredients and supplies. We're now around $2.34. Coffee beans, milk, cups, lids, syrups, cleaning supplies, that all has a cost. Let's say around 59 cents goes to cost of goods. That money goes to farmers in another country, importers, packaging companies, trucking companies, and again, other landlords, banks, and workers. Your single dollar is now spread across multiple continents. Finally, profit and reinvestment. We're left with roughly $1.75 after processing fees, taxes, rent, wages, and supplies. From that remaining money, some will go to business profit and some will go to reinvesting back into the business. New equipment, decor, marketing, whatever keeps the place going and hopefully growing. On average, small business profit margins might be 5 to 15% depending on the business. If we say 10% of your original $5 ends up as profit, that's about 50 cents. That 50 cents might go to the owner's personal income, sit in a business savings account earning the bank interest, or get reinvested into things that hopefully bring even more of your future dollars to that shop. So just from that one $5 purchase, a few cents went to payment networks and banks, dozens of cents went to the government, over $1 went to a landlord and utilities, $1 went to wages, over half a dollar went to suppliers, about 50 cents became profit. Your money didn't disappear. It just stopped working for you and started working for everyone else. Now let's add another layer. What if you use a credit card for that coffee and you don't pay the balance in full? This is where the secret life of your dollar gets really expensive. Say your card has 20% APR, which is very normal. A lot of cards are even higher. Let's do some simple math. If you carry a revolving balance of $2,000 on a 20% APR card, 20% of $2,000 is $400 per year in interest. That's about $33 per month just in interest. So every month, roughly $33 of your future dollars are going to the bank just to rent the money you already spent months ago. Now multiply that by millions of people. According to data from the Federal Reserve and industry reports, Americans pay tens of billions of dollars every year in credit card interest alone. That's not even counting late fees and other charges. So here's what most people don't realize. When you buy something on credit and don't pay it off, the dollars you haven't even earned yet are already scheduled to leave your life. Your future income is pre-sold to banks, card networks, and lenders. That's why it feels like you're always catching up. Your future dollars already have jobs that you didn't consciously assign them.
Let's zoom out one more level. When that dollar leaves your pocket and goes into this giant machine, it can be used in three big ways. One, to cover costs, wages, rent, supplies, taxes. Two, to generate more money, investments, growth, interest. Three, to influence you to spend more, marketing, ads, design, psychology. Look, companies are not bad for doing this. This is the system. But you need to understand the system so you're not the only one in it who doesn't have a strategy. First, the cost side. Every business has to pay employees, landlords, suppliers, software, insurance, taxes. Your dollar helps them survive. Then we get to growth, the multiplication layer. Any part of your dollar that becomes profit or retained earnings can be put into a savings or investment account, used to open new locations, used to buy equipment that increases productivity, returned to shareholders as dividends, or used to buy back stock, raising share prices. The key question is, when you spend, whose wealth are you building? Because when you buy from a company you own stock in or you use services from a business you're invested in, let's zoom out one more level. When that dollar leaves your pocket and goes into this giant machine, it can be used in three big ways. One, to cover costs, wages, rent, supplies, taxes. Two, to generate more money, investments, growth, interest. Three, to influence you to spend more, marketing, ads, design, psychology. Look, companies are not bad for doing this. This is the system. But you need to understand the system so you're not the only one in it who doesn't have a strategy. First, the cost side. Every business has to pay employees, landlords, suppliers, software, insurance, taxes. Your dollar helps them survive. Then we get to growth, the multiplication layer. Any part of your dollar that becomes profit or retained earnings can be put into a savings or investment account, used to open new locations, used to buy equipment that increases productivity, returned to shareholders as dividends, or used to buy back stock, raising share prices. The key question is, when you spend, whose wealth are you building? Because when you buy from a company you own stock in, or you use services from a business you're invested in somehow, your dollar still leaves you as a consumer, but part of it comes back to you as an owner. Most people only ever play the consumer side and never the owner side. That's how you can have one person buying coffee every day and getting poorer, and another person buying the same coffee but also owning shares in the company, or in a broad stock market index that includes it, and over time they get richer. Same $5, completely different long-term effect. And then there's the influence layer, the marketing. This is the part that frustrates me, and honestly should frustrate you too. A chunk of your spending, directly or indirectly, eventually lands in marketing budgets whose entire purpose is to get you to spend more frequently, spend more per purchase, and feel good about it in the moment. We're talking ads on your phone, sponsored videos, influencer deals, store layouts designed to make you buy more, limited time offers to trigger your fear of missing out, and on and on. In the US alone, total advertising spending is in the hundreds of billions of dollars per year. So while you're thinking, I really should save more, there are literally armies of people whose full-time job is to make sure your dollars keep going back into their machine. If your brain feels outmatched, that's because it is, by design. Let's talk about why mentally this feels so out of control. Because it's not just math, it's psychology. And if you don't understand the psychology, you'll lose the math game every time. First, present bias. Your brain is wired to care way more about right now than later. $5 of pleasure right now feels huge. $5 in your retirement account 30 years from now feels like nothing. But mathematically, if you took that same $5 and invested it every workday, say 20 days a month, that's $100 a month. At a modest 7% annual return over 30 years, that's roughly over $120,000. So emotionally, it feels like just coffee. Mathematically, it's a six-figure decision repeated monthly over decades. Second, the it's only trap. It's only $3. It's only $15. It's only $7 for the subscription. Only is how companies disarm you, because they understand what behavioral researchers have found over and over. You're terrible at adding up small, frequent expenses in your head. If I told you, send me $300 right now, you'd think hard about it. But if I can get you to spend $10 here, $20 there, $15 somewhere else every few days, you won't feel it, but over a month or a year, the totals are the same. Third, the pain of paying. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain actually feels pain when you hand over cash. Research shows the pain of paying is higher with physical money. Enter tap to pay, one-click checkout, stored cards, and buy now, pay later. These are designed to reduce the pain of paying so you spend more. You know how Amazon's buy now button feels painless? That's the point. The less friction there is between want and own, the more of your dollars will quietly go work for Amazon instead of you. Fourth, status and identity. A lot of your spending isn't about the product, it's about what it says about you. The brand of shoes, the restaurant you post from, the car you drive, the tech you upgrade every year. These things are often identity purchases. Now, I'm not saying never do that, I'm saying recognize when you are doing that. Because if you don't know why you're buying, your money is being controlled by feelings that companies are very good at manipulating. Now, you might be thinking, Smart, this is all cool theory, but I'm not out here blowing money on random stuff. I'm paying rent, utilities, food, gas. Where's the secret life in that? I have to spend this money. You're right, there are non-negotiable expenses, but even inside those fixed categories, your dollars have choices. Let's take rent. You might feel like, I pay $1,500 in rent. That's fixed. But zoom out. that $1,500 has a lifestyle built into it: location, size, amenities. If you house hike, get a roommate, or live slightly smaller, maybe you pay $1,200 instead. That $300 difference annually is $3,600. Over 10 years, without even investing, that's $36,000 that either stayed with you or went to your landlord. If you invested that $300 per month at 7% for 10 years, that's around $50,000 or more. So, fixed expenses often have ranges that completely change the secret life of your dollars. Same for car choices, food habits, restaurant versus cooking, phone plans, and subscriptions you've forgotten you even have. You don't have to cut everything, but you do need to be conscious about which dollars you allow to permanently leave your life and which you keep and put to work.
So what do you actually do with all this? Let's turn this from an interesting rant into a practical strategy. Step 1. Track where your dollars go for just one simple week. For the next 7 days, I want you to write down every dollar that leaves your life. Use your notes app, a spreadsheet, a budgeting app, whatever you'll actually stick to. Don't judge yourself yet. Just observe. At the end of the week, categorize your spending. What was a need? Rent, utilities, basic groceries. What was a want? Restaurants, coffee, entertainment, upgrades. And what was a leak? Fees, interest, forgotten subscriptions, impulse buys. You will be shocked at how much goes into leaks and low-value wants. This is your personal secret life of your dollar map. Step 2. Give every dollar a job before you spend it. Here's what most people don't realize. If you don't assign a job to your dollars before payday, they will naturally default to rent, bills, food, and then a blur of random spending until the account hits zero. Instead, as soon as you get paid, break your money into specific jobs. This amount to rent, this amount to food, this amount to transportation, this amount to fun, this amount to savings, this amount to debt payoff, this amount to investing. This is called zero-based budgeting. You're telling every dollar where to go on purpose. Even if the numbers are small, the habit is huge. If you make $2,000 a month and decide that 10% goes to future you, savings plus investing, that's $200 a month. Over 10 years at 7%, that's roughly $34,000. Not life-changing by itself, but multiplied over time and increases in income, it stacks. Step 3. Automate your future first. Look, you cannot rely on willpower to save and invest. The system is literally engineered to separate you from your money. So you have to cheat back in your favor. Set up automatic transfers to a savings account on payday. Set up automatic contributions to a retirement account, a 401k or IRA or whatever is available to you if you can. If you invest in index funds, set those contributions to auto-invest monthly. Make it so your future self gets paid before Starbucks, Amazon, or anyone else. Even $50 a month automatically invested is better than $0 when you feel like it, because, let's be honest, you'll never feel like it consistently. Step 4. Add just a little friction to spending. Remember the pain of paying? You can use that against overspending. Turn off one-click purchasing where possible. Remove saved cards from your browser for impulse sites. Put a 24-hour rule on purchases over a certain amount. I can buy it, but tomorrow. Try using actual cash for categories you overspend in, like eating out or entertainment. If going from want to buy takes even 30 extra seconds, a lot of dumb purchases die in that gap. Step 5. Start owning, not just consuming. You don't have to become a stock-picking genius, but you do need to become an owner, not just a spender. That can look like investing in low-cost index funds that own tiny pieces of thousands of companies, or buying shares of companies you consistently use and believe in if you understand the risks, or increasing retirement contributions as your income grows. When you do that, the secret life of your dollars changes. Now, some dollars leave when you spend, but other dollars are out there working, earning you dividends, interest, and growth. You want to reach a point where your assets are throwing off dollars that cover some of your rent, some of your groceries, some of your fun. That's when you stop feeling like you're drowning. Step 6. Attack high-interest debt like it's an emergency. If you're carrying credit card balances at 20% APR, that is a 5-alarm fire. Because the secret life of those dollars is brutal. You pay $100 in interest. The bank uses it to pay employees, shareholders, and build better apps to make spending even easier. To kill this, list your debts smallest to largest or highest interest rate to lowest. Pick a strategy, either the debt snowball, pay off the smallest first for quick wins, or the debt avalanche, pay off the highest interest first for maximum math efficiency. Pay minimums on everything, then throw every extra dollar you can at your target. Every dollar of interest you don't pay is a dollar that can start living for you instead of the bank. Let me give you a quick story to tie this together. 2 friends, same job, same income. We'll call them Alex and Jordan. They both make $50,000 a year after taxes. For 10 years, Alex never really pays attention, pays minimums on a credit card, upgrades their phone every year, eats out a lot, doesn't save on purpose. Jordan decides to give every dollar a job, adds a bit of friction to spending, pays off high-interest debt, and invests $400 a month into a simple index fund. After 10 years, Alex feels like they're running in place. Maybe has a few thousand in a savings account, still has credit card debt. Jordan, at 7% annual average returns, has roughly $69,000 to $70,000 invested, plus no credit card debt bleeding them. Same income, same economy, same prices. The difference is not how hard they worked. It's who their dollars worked for. Your dollars are not just little green pieces of paper or numbers on a screen. They're tiny workers. Every time you spend, you're either hiring them to go build someone else's dream or directing them to quietly build yours. The system is already set up with detailed plans to capture your dollars the moment you earn them, through frictionless payments, subscription traps, credit card interest, marketing, and lifestyle pressure. You're allowed to opt out of that by understanding where your money goes after you spend it, deciding in advance what jobs your dollars have, automating your future first, and owning assets instead of only consuming products. So here's what I want you to do the moment this video ends. First, track 1 week of spending. Every dollar, no exceptions. Second, circle the dollars that you're angry at in hindsight, the ones that gave you basically no lasting value. Third, decide on one category will you cut back next month and send that exact amount into savings or investing automatically. Not someday, not when you make more. Now. Because the secret life of your dollar is happening whether you pay attention or not. The question is, are your dollars going to keep living for banks, brands, and landlords, or are they finally going to start living for you? If this opened your eyes even a little bit, hit that like button so more people can see it. Subscribe for more real-world money breakdowns, and drop a comment. What's one place your dollars are going that you are going to change starting today? My name is Smart. Thanks for spending some of your attention with me. Now, go make your dollars work just as hard as you do.